Welcome to Tweedy's half-assed tour of Hadrian's Wall. I'm going to be visiting some of the sites that I've seen on Mr. WC21's excellent catalogue of Roman Gazette videos. Some of my favourites, including this one where I think I had a shout out in YouTube parlance. This is the Temple of Mithras at the fort of Broccolicia, where presumably in addition to broccoli being venerated, they also worshipped the cult of Mithras. An extremely sophisticated fly-through drone footage of the Temple of Mithras here, right up to the altar at the far end. And it looks like some modern people have left some offerings. Look! Handful of coins and some sticks and an apple. That's nice, like leaving an apple for the teacher, the teacher's pet. Also a spiral collection of small stones. Particularly impressed by these altar stones down at one end. Can't quite figure out from the blurb on the sign back there if these are original. Sort of suspect these have been reinstated. It does give it a lot more impact than just four stone walls. The cult of Mithras actually originates in Iran and was then taken on by some members of the Roman Empire. It has parallels and roots shared with Zoroastrianism, one of the world's oldest religions. Unfortunately, the cult of Mithras failed to survive beyond the end of the Roman Empire, was quite possibly killed off by Christianity. Today, the most frequent visitors to the Temple of Mithras here are these four-legged ruminants who don't seem particularly interested in its religious aspects. We're at Housesteads Roman fort now, and this is the one and only section of Hadrian's Wall that you can actually walk on. The Hadrian's Wall path follows along the line of the top of the wall here. Incredible views from this section of Hadrian's Wall, and you can see why they chose to site the wall where it is. You get these vistas across the hills here and onto Scotland, and if there were any marauding barbarians coming to threaten the sanctity of the Roman Empire, you'd get a good advance warning here. And also pretty good views in this direction, although it's a bit hard to see because there's a line of trees here today. But the alternative theory that the Roman wall was actually here to keep the occupants of what we now know as England in, rather than the occupants of what we now know as Scotland out. You'd also get a pretty good vantage point from here to see any ne'er-do-wells trying to flee the empire. So it is just up to here where this sign is that there is special permission to walk on the wall. Hadrian's Wall path follows the wall, but from here on you need to take these steps down and follow the path along at ground level. Really incredible views from here, the way it sort of snakes over the hills, quite reminiscent of the Great Wall of China. I suppose any walls along a hill range, along a ridge of a hill, look like this. This is Mile Castle 37, marked on the OS map as Housestead Crags, or this area is marked as Housestead Crags. There would have been one of these, of course, every mile. Is that every Roman mile, perhaps? And there is the remains of an old Roman arch there. You can still see three of the curved stones forming the base of the arch. Really stunning panoramas from here, and quite lucky with the weather as well today. There's a damaged bit of the wall here. It's amazing to think that this has stood for getting on for 2,000 years, really, isn't it? 1,900 years, give or take. And there had been a stone, presumably right there between these two, for some reason has come out, filled in with bits of rubble now. spend a lot of time over on Tweedy pubs talking about columns and pillars, modern reconstructions of classical architecture, and here is an actual Roman one, or at least the base of that column would have supported part of the Principia, is it Principia or Principia, the kind of head office of the fort. Something akin to an architectural graveyard there for some no longer standing columns. They would probably have been much more decorative when they weren't all weathered and ancient, lichen covered like this. Another nice example there. Now sadly no longer standing column. Is that possibly the remnants of a hypocaust there then? A heated underfloor. This is Housesteads, Roman fort's famous Roman latrine, as popularised by Mr. WC21's big Roman toilet video, which has to be one of my favourite Roman Gazette episodes. I think as a result of that video, there's been a constant stream of people. It's a very difficult place to film, so hopefully I can cover over this with some B-roll, get an idea from the artistic recreation there of how the whole thing functioned. There would have been wooden benches with appropriate holes in, and I think, as Mr. WC21 said at the time, we weren't exactly sure how the equivalent of the roll of today's toilet paper was performed. The general theory seems to be something like a sponge on a stick or a rag on a stick. There was a recreation of one of those by the entrance, but I don't think that's actually been archaeologically confirmed, so it might not have been a particularly hygienic business by modern standards. I missed this earlier. It says inn here. This is part of the, is it called the Vicus, the village that would have been just outside the Roman fort. This would have been local people providing sort of ancillary services, I suppose, including an inn. This is possibly our final stop of the day, Walltown Crags. I'd seen some photos of this and just thought it was a really beautiful scenic viewpoint of the wall snaking over the hills. I don't know if it's apparent that I'm on a family holiday here, so somewhat at the mercy of the whims of my nearest and dearest, and I think their appetite for Roman things is on the brink of expiring, but I thought this was a really beautiful spot. An unambitious itinerary today. Not exactly a very thorough coverage of Hadrian's Wall, but hopefully we've seen a couple of highlights. These lone trees here and there, there's a bit of hawthorn, something different, that one over on the right hand side of the screen right now. And the sticky up rocks. At times it's difficult to tell the difference between the natural geology and that which has been built by the result of hard work 2,000 years ago. There is a board showing some information about turret 45A, next to which the remnants thereof stand. And that's what it would have looked like, complete with the crows are there, or rooks on the top. That's looking a bit ridiculous. I think that might be it then for our brief tour of Hadrian's Wall. I think that's been really magical and lovely weather to see it in as well. If anything, a little bit too warm for me. I like the first bit this morning when it was slightly breezy. Definitely tweed weather. It's now a little bit hashtag too hot for tweed. Thanks for watching. See you on the next one.